After I die, please forget me.
Forget you? How could I forget the person who taught me how to breathe?
But I'm only going to hurt you.
No, loving you, even for this short time, is the best thing that has ever happened to me. This love isn't going anywhere just because your body is tired. So never ask me to forget you again. It's the only thing in this world I can never give you.
Summer began to fade, the days growing shorter. Anastasia's good days now more often meant good hours. The fatigue hit her more quickly, but her spirit still refused to be extinguished. That night, they were at the dacha. There was a chill in the air, signaling the imminent arrival of autumn. Victor had lit the small fireplace in the living room. Anastasia sat on the floor on a thick rug, leaning back between Victor's legs as he sat on the sofa, while he gently combed her long hair. Her hair was a little thinner, no longer as lustrous as it once was, but to Victor, it was the most beautiful silk in the world. The combing motion was rhythmic, soothing, a quiet ritual of intimacy.
My hair must look terrible.
Anastasia whispered softly, closing her eyes to enjoy the touch of the wooden comb.
Your hair is the most beautiful thing I have ever touched.
Victor answered honestly, his voice low. A comfortable silence settled over them for several minutes, broken only by the soft rustle of the comb and the crackle of the fire. Suddenly, Anastasia spoke again, her voice so soft Victor almost didn't hear it.
Vitya. Later,
she said, her voice trembling slightly.
After it's all over, you have to forget me.
Victor's hand stopped moving. The comb froze. Midstrand. The silence in the room suddenly felt heavy and cold.
What did you say?
Victor asked softly.
You have to promise me.
Anastasia continued, not turning around. Tears began to well in her eyes.
You're still young. You have to find another good woman. Get married. Have noisy children in a house full of laughter. Don't let my memory become your prison. I don't want to be your ghost, Vitya.
Victor set the comb down. He moved off the sofa, kneeling on the rug in front of Anastasia, so he could see her face. He saw the tears streaming down her pale cheeks. Gently, he cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping the tears away.
Forget you.
Victor repeated, his voice hoarse with emotion. He shook his head slowly, a sad smile playing on his lips.
How could I forget the person who taught me how to breathe?
Vitya, don't.
Sheesh, listen to me.
Victor interrupted gently.
Before I met you, I just existed. I wasn't living. I was a man who built empty buildings and slept in an empty apartment. My world was gray, Anastasia. Completely gray.
He leaned in, resting his forehead against hers.
Then you came.
He whispered.
You crashed into me with paint on your face and laughter in your eyes. You forced me to see color. You forced me to feel.
But I'm only going to hurt you.
No.
Victor said firmly.
Loving you, even for this short time, is the best thing that has ever happened to me. This love isn't going anywhere just because your body is tired.
He looked straight into Anastasia's watery green eyes.
You aren't just one chapter in my life, Anastasia. You are the whole story. You are the point. Forget you.
He repeated, as if the word itself were blasphemy.
That would be like asking me to rip my own heart out and keep living. It's impossible. So no,
he said, his voice steady now.
I won't forget you. I will carry you with me. Every single day. Every sunrise I see, I will see it for both of us. Every beautiful painting I find, I'll know you would have loved it. My love for you won't end. It will just change shape into the way I live the rest of my life.
He kissed her gently, a kiss that wasn't about passion, but about an everlasting promise.
So never ask me to forget you again.
He whispered against her lips.
It's the only thing in this world I can never give you.
Time is a cruel thief. For Victor and Anastasia, time was no longer measured in days or weeks, but rather in good days and bad days. The bright spring shifted into a warm, early summer, but the warmth seemed unable to penetrate their small apartment. Anastasia's condition declined faster than the doctors had predicted. Good days were when she could sit on the balcony with Victor's help, sketching the flowers in their pots with a slightly trembling hand. Bad days were when she couldn't get out of bed. Victor quickly adapted into her caregiver, the man who once only knew how to read. Blueprints was now an expert in reading prescriptions, measuring doses, and how to move someone from the bed to the wheelchair without hurting her. The most painful thing for Victor wasn't Anastasia's physical weakness, but the moments when the illness touched her mind. One afternoon, Victor was reading Pushkin poetry to her, their new tradition. Anastasia suddenly stopped him.
Vitya,
She said, her voice small.
what was the name of the dog I told you about? My neighbor's dog when I was little?
Boris.
Victor answered softly.
No,
Anastasia said, frowning.
no, it was... I know this. His name...
She looked panicked, her eyes staring at the wall as if trying to pull the memory from it.
I know his name, Vitya. Why can't I?
Sheesh, it's okay.
Victor said, putting down the book and grasping her hand.
No,
Anastasia snapped, pulling her hand away.
it's not okay. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting the small things. Yesterday, I forgot where we keep the spoons. Spoons, Vitya. And now Boris.
She looked at Victor, her eyes filled with pure terror.
I'm disappearing, Vitya. I'm still here, but I'm already disappearing.
She began to cry not soft tears, but sobs full of frustration and anger. She was angry at her own brain for betraying her. Victor didn't know what to do. His logic couldn't fix this. He couldn't build a solution for this. So, he just sat on the edge of the bed, pulling the angry and frustrated Anastasia into his arms. He let her beat against his chest, let her scream about how unfair it all was, until her anger was spent and only exhausted sobs remained.
You are not disappearing.
Victor whispered into her hair, his voice hoarse.
You are here. You are right here, in my arms. And I am holding you tightly.
Their love changed shape. The fiery passion from the beginning had faded, replaced by something far deeper, something quiet. It was love in the form of Victor, patiently feeding Anastasia soup when she was too tired to lift a spoon. It was love in the form of Victor staying awake all night, listening to Anastasia's regular breathing, afraid she might stop. It was love in the form of Anastasia, who, on her good days, used her remaining energy to sit up and try to paint Victor's portrait, even though her hands trembled terribly. The painting wasn't perfect. The lines were crooked and the colors bled, but it was the most honest thing she had ever painted. Their world narrowed to one room, one bed, one breath, and in that narrow space, their eternal love filled every gap. The short and precious summer faded, changing into a sharp and golden autumn. They had moved from the cramped apartment in Moscow to the old dacha, country house belonging to Victor's grandparents. The air here was clean, and the silence was broken only by the rustling of falling leaves. Victor had fulfilled almost everything on Anastasia's wish list. They ate piroski in Red Square. At 3 a.m. Victor carried her on his back. She finished the mural at the orphanage, with Victor supporting her trembling hand for every final brushstroke. But now, her strength was gone. Anastasia spent most of her days asleep in a chair by the window, her body fragile under a thick wool blanket. The tumor had taken almost everything: her ability to walk, her memory of small things, and the strength in her hands. But it had not taken her soul. That afternoon, she woke up with a surprising clarity. She looked at Victor, who was asleep in the chair beside her. His head slumped against the edge of the bed. He looked exhausted.
Vitya,
Anastasia whispered, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. Victor woke instantly, his tired eyes immediately focusing.
I'm here, my love. What do you need? Medicine? Water?
Anastasia shook her head slowly. She turned to the window, where the sky was beginning to turn orange and purple.
take me to the porch.
She said.
I want to see the sunset.
Victor didn't hesitate. He wrapped Anastasia in the warmest blanket, lifted her light body from the bed, and carried her outside. The autumn air was cold on their skin. Victor sat in a wooden rocking chair on the porch, with Anastasia curled up in his lap, resting against his chest. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun slowly sink behind the bare trees.
The sky is so beautiful.
Anastasia whispered.
Full of color. Like my first painting that you ruined with your coffee.
Victor smiled sadly, kissing the top of her head.
It was my best painting.
Anastasia chuckled softly, which turned into a small cough. After her cough subsided, she looked up, gazing at Victor's strong yet gentle profile.
Vitya.
I'm here, Nastia.
Thank you.
She whispered.
Thank you for staying with me, for adoring me, for loving me. I am so happy I got to enjoy my days with you.
I will always love you. I will always make you happy.
Victor said, his voice hoarse, holding back the tears burning his throat.
Vitya, promise me.
Victor swallowed, his throat tightening. He knew this was the moment.
Anything.
He answered, his voice hoarse.
Don't go back to your gray world.
Anastasia said, her voice suddenly strong.
Don't let me make you freeze again.
Tears began to stream down Victor's cheeks, falling into Anastasia's hair.
I don't know how to live without you, Nastia. You are my color.
You can.
She insisted, lifting her trembling hand to touch Victor's cheek.
You must live for me. See the colors for me. Promise me you will keep living, Vitya.
Victor closed his eyes, pressing a kiss into Anastasia's cold palm.
I promise, Anastasia.
A beautiful, content smile touched Anastasia's lips.
Good,
she whispered. She let out a long sigh, a breath that sounded like relief.
I'm so tired, Vitya. I want to sleep for a little while.
Go to sleep.
Victor said, his voice shattering.
I'm here. I'm holding you.
Anastasia closed her eyes. She rested her head deeper against Victor's chest, listening to the heartbeat of the man she loved. The sun disappeared behind the horizon, leaving a final streak of orange. Anastasia's breathing slowed, became shallower, and then stopped. Her grip on Victor's shirt weakened. Victor continued to sit there. He didn't cry. He didn't move. He just kept holding the now cold body of the love of his life under the darkening autumn sky, long after the last color had faded. The funeral was held 3 days later. The Moscow sky had returned to steel gray, and the first snowflakes of the season began to fall too early. Too cruel, Victor took care of everything himself. He refused help from his assistant or his acquaintances. This was his last task for Anastasia. He did not choose a cold, expensive, varnished mahogany casket. He spent a full day searching for an old woodcraftsman outside the city, commissioning a simple casket of pale pine, with carvings of wild chamomile, Ostasia's favorite flower. The funeral was quiet. There was only Victor, a few children from the orphanage where Anastasia had painted, and the old cafe owner, where she sometimes played the piano. No family, just the people whose lives had been briefly touched by her light. As the wooden casket was lowered into the cold, wet earth, Victor stood tall, motionless. He did not cry. He was numb. His world returned to a flat monochrome. The snow began to fall harder, covering the newly turned earth with a thin white blanket. One by one, the others left, offering their brief condolences, which Victor met only with a stiff nod. Finally, he was left alone. Just him, the fresh grave, and the silence of the falling snow. Victor knelt on the wet, half-frozen earth. He didn't care that mud stained his expensive wool trousers. He placed a bouquet of sunflowers, flowers incredibly difficult to find in early winter, a testament to the effort he had gone to on the fresh mound of earth.
You always did like yellow,
he whispered, his voice hoarse. That's when his defenses crumbled. The tears he had held back since that night on the dacha porch finally flowed. Not loud SOBs, but a silent stream of tears that soaked his chilled cheeks. He reached out, touching the cold earth as if he could feel Anastasia beneath it.
You told me not to live in a gray world,
he whispered, his voice hoarse.
I will try, my love. I promise I will try.
He took a deep, shuddering breath, trying to control himself. He tried to smile the smile he learned from Anastasia, a smile that should have been full of light, but the smile was stiff, a forced expression, tragic on his tear-streaked face.
My world will always have one favorite color now. Your color. The color of your green eyes, the color of your yellow scarf.
He bowed his head.
I will never find someone to replace you, Nastya. Never. How could I?
He asked the silence.
All my love is spent. It was all for you. And I'm okay with that.
He closed his eyes, letting the snow land in his hair, his tears continuing to flow, unchecked.
I will love you in memory.
He promised.
I will love you forever.
1 year passed. The seasons changed. The painful autumn froze into winter, then melted again into an empty spring and heated up into a lonely summer. Now, winter had returned to Moscow. Snow fell softly. On Tverskaya Street, Viktor Volkov walked down the crowded sidewalk. He still wore a good wool coat and expensive leather shoes. He was still Victor, but his steps were no longer rushed. He was no longer racing against time. He reached the street corner, where it all began. The place where his gray world had once collided with a bright yellow splash of color. He stopped. He could see her clearly, the ghost of Anastasia, crouching in the snow, looking up at him with sparkling green eyes, a blue paint smudge on her cheek. He could hear her tinkling laugh above the din of the traffic. The pain was still there. It was a dull ache in his chest that would never go away. The longing was so deep it sometimes made it hard to breathe. But he had promised. Victor did not continue his journey to the office. Instead, he turned into the small park across the street, the place where Anastasia used to love feeding the pigeons. He looked around. He noticed the way the snowflakes landed on the bare branches of the trees, an intricate and unique pattern. He noticed a small child laughing while trying to catch snow on their tongue. He saw an old woman wrapping a bright red scarf around her neck. Color. Everywhere there was color. He bought a small bag of seeds from a vendor at the park gate, something he would have never done before. He walked to the bench where he first sat with Anastasia, and he began to scatter the seeds onto the snow. A flock of pigeons immediately gathered at his feet. He was not in a hurry. He didn't check his watch. He just sat there in the cold, feeling a strange peace. He had kept his promise. He had not returned to his gray world. He was living alone, yes, but he was no longer empty. He carried Anastasia with him. He saw the world through Anastasia's eyes now. Viktor Volkov looked up, letting the snowflakes land on his face. He smiled. Not a stiff smile of obligation, not the forced smile holding back tears like at the funeral. It was a genuine smile, sad but genuine.
I'm still living, Nastya.
He whispered to the gray sky.
I'm still seeing your colors.
The end.